Welcome to our first look at the Settlers' New Allies. Well, I played this game a little bit, to be honest, before recording this video. A live stream of some of the campaign missions are already complete, but I've been enjoying what I've been seeing so far, and honestly, I have nothing to compare this to in terms of the Settlers series, as this is my first time with the Settlers franchise. Now, I've seen a lot of things that I really like in terms of the building design and how the game functions, and I hear this is different than some of the other previous Settlers games. And I believe this is up to the 7th or 8th game in the franchise, so you'd hope that it would be a little bit different in order to try to change things and keep it fresh and new, but yet still try to bring things that people are familiar with. I'd imagine over all the years of, oh boy, I think over 20, 30 years this game's been around, this franchise, and so, yeah. It's a great base building game. I like how bases are built. I like how territory is claimed and how your base and cities are more spread out rather than just being like a small RTS base and then going out and attacking the enemy like you would in Age of Empires. Though, from my experience so far, it certainly does feel like a little bit of Age of Empires meets perhaps Rise of Nations from long ago. I like what I see so far, but I want to keep on playing. And, you know, it's got me interested enough at least to see the campaign all the way through and perhaps try some skirmish missions. Now, the skirmish itself does have PvP, casual, and hardcore mode up to 4v4 and 1v1, 2v2s. And, yeah, it seems like a game that's quite fun so far. And with tutorial and other things for the shop and loadout, it seems like they're trying to go maybe perhaps for a competitive feel. Like, for example, a Company of Heroes in a way, you know, like esports or something like that. But regardless, it seems like a good time. And we're going to take our first look at some of the first missions and show you how gorgeous the game is. Love the detail, and I love how a lot of the things operate in the game. And there's some things I still need to learn. So regardless, let's go ahead and jump in. And thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for smashing that like button, and welcome to all you awesome new members. Thank you very much for joining the channel and supporting in every which way you do. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump in to the Settlers' New Allies, new missions. Let's go.
Ancient secrets are hidden here, remnants of a time long gone. It takes a curious mind and an open heart to take a step into our own past. Such a step must not be taken lightly, as a path unknown is also treacherous. Only a fearless explorer will succeed in this daunting task.
Cool. All right, I'll be honest. Yeah, I lied. This is actually a later mission, like Chapter 1, Mission 3.
I hoped that we'd go as far as we could, make landfall, and get settled into our new life.
So what? This isn't what you expected, but it is still better than living in a war zone.
But I didn't expect us to never get settled at all. I mean, when does it ever stop? When will we finally stop running?
Maybe I can help with that. If we find out where exactly our ancestors went, we will find a new home.
You don't have any proof that we will ever find them.
Yes, I do. I'm very sure that they left these hints to make sure our people were able to find them if we ever came looking. My father used to suspect something similar too.
Your father and I were friends. I'm sorry he passed. I always trusted him without any doubt.
The hints I have collected so far were quite vague. But I know that there should be 4 fragments of a map somewhere on this island. It is said that they have been entrusted to 4 extraordinary craftsmen who lived here. All we have to do is find them and the maps.
So I guess we will leave again soon. I better start organizing and restocking our supplies then.
Nice. All right, so yeah, I went to a few missions in instead because we get access to a lot more of the game. As you would imagine, the further the game goes, the more access we get to new technology and different types of mechanics, and so it's a little more interesting to see. So one of the things that grabbed me immediately is how the houses work in this game. If you build them close together, they get attached by like an annex or a bridge or something like that. So you can make like a large housing complex that goes across the roads, and you can make a sprawling neighborhood rather than it just looking like independent houses. So they did a good job of making the buildings kind of feel a little bit more realistic to how you would solve, I guess, space problems back then. You know, housing space limited probably by how crowded towns were. But yeah, this isn't based on any sort of actual history. It seems to be a fictional nation, a fictional people, and it all seems to have fictional technology sometimes too. Although it's what you'd imagine, mining iron and gathering weapons, that type of thing. All right, let's go ahead and grab our scout. Up here we have our troops that are laid out really nicely. We don't have a scout at the moment, I guess, but we have our engineers, who are basically like our builders, and we have our military units, which are basic defensive melee units, offensive melee units, and ranged units. But we'll use them all since they'll be pretty good at going and finding the enemy. Another thing I like, too, is when we highlight all of our troops, it only highlights the troops and doesn't select the engineers. So these guys here don't get selected. And the troops move out in columns. That's pretty nice. And the columns actually kind of curve as they move around. That's pretty cool. All right, we're going to go just do what it says here for exploring the island and see what we can discover to our east. Have the troops go out there. Now, I haven't seen a attack move button over on the right side. It just basically says...
Scouts discovered a landmark.
Oh, well, there it is. Hold control. There you go. I was like, I'd never seen that until now. Well, here we go. I guess it'll matter more now since we're past the tutorial missions. But the landscape is gorgeous. The diversity of different types of bushes and grass types and rocks and soil is really looking good. All right, our first combat. Not going to be a hard one. And they're dead. Good job. So now we're capturing this area. If we move inside the little border there that we see, and we're going to continue on with the story. As they mentioned, we need to find craftsmen in order to discover the secrets of the island or whatnot. Something like that.
Not much is left of this statue. It must have been quite a magnificent monument when it was still in one piece. I guess nothing is built to last for an eternity, and even our ancestors weren't able to build something that sturdy. I needed some time to put together enough research, but I'm certain now that this statue was built to honor a blacksmith named Uska. He must have been an important member of the group that settled here. I must get back to tell the others.
All right. We can collect a reward. Oftentimes for these missions, we get something like troops or money or, resources. Things are based on resource a little bit more than cash. All right, let's go to the village council.
I found this scroll in the socket of a withered statue. I almost missed it was actually there.
What does it say?
Well, that's a little bit more difficult. This is just a snippet that belongs to a larger artifact. It could be the map, but I'm not sure, since I don't have all of it yet. I just have to keep searching for other statues.
Just be careful. We can't afford to lose the little we have. And I don't think I want to lose you.
All right, got it. Don't worry about me, but I'd better get going now.
Ooh. Honestly, one of the things about this story is that I'm not sure what's going on really at all. It's kind of like the beginning of Age of Empires 3, where things are a little confusing as to who is what, what's the secret society. And I think it'll be determined later in the story of what's going on. But as for the main campaign, we start by being invaded, and we have to get all of our goods onto a boat, and then we start shipping out to all these different islands. And so at the end of each mission, we see like a boat arriving or leaving, and then we go from island to island to look for, I guess, other people to ally with, hence the name New Allies. And but yeah, going back to what I was saying about the landscape, it's absolutely gorgeous. I hope RTSs and city builders keep going down this route where instead of just green grass, we see everything from fern to dandelion, to bushes and berries of all sorts. In fact, we can gather berries here, but everything looks really good, blended in nicely. And it kind of reminds me of Farthest Frontier, in a way, the recent city builder that we've been playing tons of on the channel. An American Eagle's coming on through, brother. Hey, man. All right, cool. Bald Eagle's pretty. All right, let's keep going. So we should start building our city a little bit, now that we've
Our scouts discovered a landmark.
completed the first objective. There's a landmark there. We can claim this and get some of the resources from it by sending over engineers to pick that up. But let's go ahead and go for our engineering squad and start conquering some land. So the way it works is we select some engineers, and then we select some territory, and we can expand upon that territory by them moving these rocks forward. These blue rocks mark the edge of our territory. And so the similar way it works in, like, for example, Rise of Nations is you would build a structure or you'd implement some policies to expand your border. But in this case, you're just doing it by selecting the engineers, and it takes them a little bit of time to push forward, but they will expand that border for you. The more engineers, the faster it gets done. So good idea to build as many of those, or rather, I guess, train them as quickly as possible. All right, another thing we're going to do is start building some more buildings to gather some materials. So once we expand that territory, it looks like we're going to have a shortage of trees. We try to build a forester, but it still takes an initial 10 logs to do that. So we really started somewhere where there's not a lot of trees. These 3 aren't even really worth it either. Up here's where we'd want to start cutting down some trees. So we have all sorts of materials in the game. We have, as you'd imagine, lumber, logs, stone, tools, and then weapons. Bows, shields, and axes, too, that are used in battle.
Enemy in sight.
And then basic tools made of stone
Our scouts discovered a landmark.
are built from our blacksmiths, or tool makers, rather. Hey, here we go. We can go and capture some supply from bandits up here, too. Go ahead and tell one engineer
Enemy in sight.
to come up here. Could be a way to utilize this, I think. A derelict mine. Oh, I see. We need to deliver 15 grapes, and then we get 10 iron and 10 coal. Then, of course, we can turn that into weapons.
Of course.
All right, let's go up that way. Now, this mission might be a little bit more to where instead of gathering materials, we're trying to liberate some settlements or some areas where bandits have created camps and outposts. So that could be something to give this a little bit of a different experience or a different feel for a mission. But at this point, we would be mining some of these rocks up here, although we need to capture that territory first, and we'd be doing a little bit of logging, which is why we're expanding the border up that way. So everything's going to take a little bit of time. Even the first missions of this game so far have been taking about an hour, and it doesn't feel tedious or boring. As you'd imagine, building a nation or conquering an island would take a little bit of time. But we have to use the border mechanic, which is similar to how it'll be played out in the skirmish mode, so it's kind of cool that, you know, similar to multiplayer, the single player, you experience the same type of mechanic, I suppose. All right, let's go ahead and get one person here to deliver goods. Now that we've captured that. Seems like we've captured something, but it doesn't pop up. Another criticism is that, yeah, when we click on certain things, we don't get information about them at all. Like, for example, I'm not sure what troop type this is, but if we hover here, then we can see that they're guardians. But sometimes you can't see their health until you highlight them all. So, but I'm sure there's some settings in the options in order to change that. That way you can see. All right, and there's also attack move, which I hadn't seen until now. So if we hit space shift, if we hit the shift button, we get waypoints. If we hit control, we get attack move. So that, pretty helpful.
On patrol.
So there's a possibility of more items here. We need the engineers to prospect this territory in order to find out what's under there. So there could be coal, iron, or more underneath that little patch there. So it's a good mining area and a good spot for us to continue to advance to during this mission. All right, how did the engineers do? Let's go ahead and find out what they're doing. One's bringing back supplies, and the others are still building the borders. So let's train some more. We need a guild hall. We can train an adventurer or an engineer. Adventurer is like a scout. They can, I think they have a little bit of an attack, yeah, 6 damage. And then the engineers are perfect for building anything in your town. All the buildings and all of the roads that must be connected to. In fact, speaking of roads, let's go ahead and build some up here. So I've seen the ability to transport things via cart with donkeys. And I've seen the ability to upgrade to cobblestone roads or stone roads. Pretty nice. Lots of buildings in the game, too. The typical ones, your logging camp, sawmill, forester, quarry, residence, and stone road. You can also quick build a road without even going into this menu by pressing G. So there's an easy way to access that. Pretty nice. Fisherman's hut, farms, windmills, bakeries, ranch, hunter's cabin, and forger's hut. The ranch is, by the way, what donkeys will be trained from, or where they grow up from, and then can eventually be brought to a building to essentially have a cart attached to them, and then somebody can basically be trained to take care of them and bring them around to deliver construction supplies. It speeds up construction by freeing up a lot of your engineers. Stone mines, coal mines, iron mines, a furnace, which can smelt You know, it takes coal and iron to create ingots, which then the blacksmith can convert into weaponry. Now, even though you have a bow and arrow here, it still takes iron to make that. So I guess, you know, makes sense. We're making iron tipped bows. So, yeah. All right, that makes sense. A gold mine and a gem mine, too. And some of these might be disabled for these missions or might change based on the mission. Toolmakers, guild halls, mints, harbors, warehouses, and a coach maker, which is the one that makes the little cart that I explained earlier. And then we have ourselves a training ground, a shady tavern, which I assume is for mercenaries at the bottom. You can see the 2 recruits there, which I don't know exactly what they are just yet. But a shrine, which also recruits another type of character. Could be like a healer. An academy, which does research. A tower. Towers in this game are interesting. If we build a tower, it provides an area of attack around it, but also it can attack one at a time for high damage. So it does like AoE 360 degrees, and then also seems to do direct damage to one individual soldier. And a bastion where you'll fall your troops back to heal. So you can basically defend this tower, and you'll get bonus healing from defending it. And a decoy, which makes the enemy aggro to them. It's like a terracotta army. If you place them here and your army nearby, the enemy has to attack them first, or at least they're somewhat distracted, and then the ability to delete things too. And all these buildings have the ability to boost. So, for example, if you build a blacksmith, let's say, for example, you can provide them with a particular good, like meat or berries or whatever it may be, in order to boost their production. Go ahead and continue to explore up top a little bit. And let's have our people come back and continue to explore.
Enemy in sight.
I will continue to conquer some of this territory.
Our army is under attack.
There we go. All right, there's an enemy tower there, so that's going to be hard to deal with. And it looks like it's got a different design than ours. It seems to be made out of mud and hides. Looks like something from the orcs. Another thing that our community had said that a lot of things look like World of Warcraft in many ways. Not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft 3. And so some of these buildings, as you'd imagine, do look a little bit like the orcs for sure. All right, well, good job, guys. You've successfully moved up to this position. The landscape here is narrow, so we're gonna have to. What is that?
Enemy in sight.
Lakeside units stationed here in this area feel. Oh, there's actual landmarks that can heal our troops. Interesting. Again, that reminds me of Rise of Nations with having different like landmarks that you could eventually conquer, or how it is in like Old World or Humankind, where you can capture certain like world landmarks, like actual what would you call it, natural landmark, and it'll give you different things like research or food or something like that, just by it being, or national pride works a little differently, but that's cool. I like that. All right, I don't want to keep fighting these guys and grinding away, so let's fall back a little bit, and we'll push up our forces here. So the goal, I think, is to advance up here and advance over here. We can start cutting down trees. And we made a lot more builders, didn't we? But they must have snapped into action already. Yeah, we've got about 20 people working on, well, 19 on the border and then 1 delivering goods from that building we captured. It'll take a while, but there's only a few weapons there. So 1 shield and 2 bows remain. They must be delivering some other stuff. All right, so now we've got this area almost secure. The trees look gorgeous. Really good looking trees, too. They all look like cypress trees. Well, this one doesn't seem to have much on it, but that seems realistic too. But yeah, what a beautiful coast. All right, let's expand the territory one more again. Go ahead and select our builders here, engineers, and get them to move up here. Inch by inch. That made them snap into action. Nope. There we go. Cool. All right, so now the whole group is moving up. And we do need to expand a little bit to this direction, so let's get a few of these guys to work over here too.
Can I carry more?
There we go. And now we're basically expanding in every which direction we can. Another thing that is interesting about this game is materials have to be delivered to a warehouse, so we do need to build more warehouses closer to where the supplies are, so we'll be building and defending a few of those. they're like supply drop-off points for all of our people. So even though we've started down here in this corner, and we have some berries nearby to boost production, we're also going to be trying to make multiple warehouses somewhere near these resources. So probably somewhere around, oh boy, that's kind of far both these directions, but somewhere around here, just because there's more flat area. It'll be a little bit of a walk, but they can do it. Alright, and also our pool of people, our idle carriers. Eventually when we make troops, it will pull from this number in order to make more troops. So if we build more military units or more engineers, it'll pull from this number. So we will need this to be around maybe 30 or so, especially if we're going to build a military after building a lot of tools and weapons. Alright, oh, we also have a quarry. Nice. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and get Forger Hut going. And these buildings kind of build like they do in Civilization. Like when you build in a small hex next to your city, like a farm or a granary or something like that. In this case, we're going to build ourselves a Forger's Hut out here. And things are built like a hexagon. It really makes you make them very close-knit together, which the cities look a lot more compact that way and look really nice when everything's put together. If we started to build a few industries here, a farm, and some other houses, and maybe some more military buildings, it will look like a real bustling city. Although a lot of people are just standing around doing nothing. Everybody's so lazy in this city. Like, people are just kind of just chilling. They're like doing yoga out in the fields and stuff. It's kind of weird to see everybody just kind of standing around. But it shows that you got 60 idle people. So if you see that number, it could be a visual cue in multiplayer that your enemy or your ally has not fully used their workforce, and so that could put you at an advantage or possibly a disadvantage if they've got a much larger population than you just sitting around. They could switch at any time to something else. Territory expansion complete. Good. That's down here, and the engineers will advance north to assist. All right, let's build a logging camp here. And eventually we'll build a Forger's Hut because the Forger's Hut... sorry, we're going to build a Forester because the Forester Hut will continuously make logs for us. Alright, we're going to start with 2 of them. One will go for the sawmill, and the other one will go for the regular storage of logs so we can make a forester. And we'll need some tools for that too, and we'll be able to make tools out of lumber and stone. Go ahead and make a sawmill nearby. Actually, let's make a warehouse. Don't want to walk too far to that. There's that building. Settlement. Looks like we need 3 tools for that, so let's make a tool maker. And we'll plop that down into town. Probably a good idea to make a couple of those. Oh yeah, there we go. Now things are starting to get tight-knit. Cool. There's also curved and angled roads in the game. I like how it is staying true to what I could imagine the grid-based format of the originals or previous titles, but yet it feels like it's kind of open to place things. But I do like how things kind of snap, so that way it's very easy to place something, and you don't have to spend too much time fiddling around with a building where, or finding out where things go. That'll be good for multiplayer, so that way you can make a nice-looking city, and yet it functions too. And that's one of the things, I don't know, that's a flaw of mine in Age of Empires, is that, yeah, I want to win, and I want to do good against my friends and enemies, but I like also making a really nice town. I want things to look nice too. That's the city builder in me, right? Wanting to try to make things look nice, but also trying to balance that with the nice military aspect too, of trying to build towers and walls and keep things compact. Alright, now this game apparently does have walls too. I've seen some screenshots, and, you know, though this is my first time playing, I haven't yet experienced everything, so I've seen some things that I haven't yet encountered in this single-player campaign that could be present in the actual skirmish mode too. Alright, let's get somebody to survey the land up here. Get one of them to come up here and search for whatever mineral types are there. So our engineers have some abilities that are quite helpful. So we have the ability to build, we have the ability to claim, survey, and then also deliver. So the surveying is checking what is there in the rocks, and the deliver ability is what this guy is doing here, in addition to building and also upgrading. If we go to upgrade roads, it's very easy. All we have to do is click and drag on the roads that already exist, and they'll be upgraded to stone in no time. Takes a lot of stone to upgrade those, so it's a good idea to think of these as train lines. When you build roads in this game, it's a very good idea to essentially make like a main highway or like a main line that everything can connect to. That's pretty good way to make sure that everything is connected at high speed, especially when you start making those carts. All right, we're going to make a mine up here, of course. So even though there's not a lot of action going on at the moment, we're doing a lot of strategic expansion and territory claiming, so that way we can try to basically get all the resources we need by going to the resource. We can't make the resource come to us. We have to build extractors nearby and then warehouses in order to store it. Although from what I understand is that the warehouses work kind of like a teleporter. If you have a ton of materials down here, they can be transported, I think, up to the warehouse that they need to pull from. You can see that some of the planks that were needed here for the toolmaker are being pulled out of the building. Now, once we get a donkey and cart, or horse and buggy, let's just say, once we get that going, then we can deliver all that stuff much faster. It increases the speed of building a lot. So you only need maybe like 6 of those. I built a ton thinking that they would transport everything that was needed around, but I think they only are used for construction materials, what I've seen so far. Okay, well, we need to build that warehouse, and that's at, what, 4? So we're getting closer.
Resources found.
It's under settlement, so we need a warehouse there. We also need a sawmill going, so let's build that. And we might need regular rocks for that. And logs. Actually, we have... I think it's just stone is stone. Yeah, we don't have, like, polished stone, so it's just stone. Good work. All right, what did we find up here? Ah, yeah, okay, perfect. So we have iron and we have coal, unlimited amounts of it in this case. So we could, I think we could definitely put a, well, we could actually put a blacksmith and a furnace up here or closer to this warehouse, so things could be produced a little bit faster. Cool beans. All right, so right now the biggest problem, these indicators are showing that the buildings are too far from the warehouse, right? That was the problem that we kind of discussed earlier, that it would take a little bit longer for them to get down there. So, but now we can build a forester, so that's nice. We'll have unlimited amounts of that. Looks like a sawmill also costs planks, and we've already used some of our planks to make tools and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and expand our territory faster. Let's get all of our tools deployed to make more engineers, and we'll have to go and raid some planks now. I've expanded a little quickly, and which is okay. We'll go explore on the south side.
Quickly.
We'll see what else we can find. So if we bring berries here, we get coal and iron, but we can't build like a mine there ourselves. We can't capture this building and use it for our own. Kind of weird, but I guess you just think of it as an abandoned mine, and somehow if you bring berries there, I don't know. You'd think there would be like a worker here, somebody who would work for you if you fed them. Which would kind of be a cool mechanic if we found buildings that were like attacked by raiders, but now we've gotten rid of the raiders and they want to help us to rid the whole island of that raid or that invasion, and so we provide them with food and they'll do the work in order to free their lands. You know, it's a enemy of my enemy type situation.
Any orders?
Go take a look at this beautiful lake. So anything within this area will heal. Pretty. It's kind of nice that there's natural landmarks that will provide you with bonuses. Or possibly
Our scouts discovered a landmark.
disadvantages too.
Our troops feel refreshed.
Good. Solve the mystery. Oh, it's the secret path. Hidden path that leads into the darkness. Could be a spawn point for us to take a shortcut. I'll have to see what that leads to later. I'm intrigued. Alright, we can make a forester building too. We're going to run out of wood at some point, so we may as well make this a little closer to our main base. Something like this would be just fine. Cool. Alright, so now we've got logging taken care of, for the most part. And we can also build a hunting lodge up here too to get more deer, which will give us meat for boosting some of our buildings as well. Let's go ahead and see if we can claim that territory down here. Back to the engineers. Engineers, eyes and ears. Let's expand our territory, please. Try to stay out of the range of that tower. I wish we could click on it and see what its range was. We do need to get that building out of here. I don't know if we have enough troops for this. But if we stay in the lake, we might be able to heal. Although it could be the type of situation where if within combat, you can't take advantage of healing unless you use the healing unit. Wooloo, right? Wow, look at that little decorative sunflower, like a little planter right there with some benches and fences. And the ground having some mud and water in it. Different types of soil. Cool. Big fan of that. That looks great. Alright. Yeah, now we got some big old weapons available. Cool. Could build a training building, but I think we again need planks here. So in order to get planks, we just have to advance. Kind of silly, though, that the sawmill requires something that we don't have in order to build it. You'd have to start out with planks and build that building first, or earlier. Or eventually we can reclaim some of these buildings and get materials from them, too. Alright, let's try to attack. See how we fare.
Our troops feel refreshed.
I hope they do. Oh, looks like there's an enemy building nearby. Alright, so there's that 360 degree of fire that I mentioned earlier.
I don't feel very well.
That's not going to end well for us.
Of course.
We'll go ahead and fall back from that.
Order received.
Our troops feel refreshed.
And it does appear that our troops will not heal unless they are out of combat, so we can avoid that tower altogether. There's a good example of towers being quite beefy. Ah, and it looks like there's another shrine there. And a secret passage here, which could lead back to our base. We could bypass this altogether. Big bonus to the lake here, big bonus.
Our troops feel refreshed.
Solve the mysteries of all statues to unlock the secret path. Okay.
Fresh air helps a lot.
Now, I also haven't seen the ability to capture enemy buildings, so that'll be something to consider. What is this ability here? Hold ground? Recall to a specific building. Okay. Love all the little details, though. It does remind me of Anno in that way, where some of the islands on Anno 1800 have some great detail.
Our troops feel refreshed.
Like an enemy army counter. Oh boy, where are they going?
Enemy in sight.
I really enjoy the breeze here.
Boy, they're going to go attack something.
If there is a job to do, I can get it done.
Can we build a tower? Probably not.
Enemy in sight.
This fresh air helps a lot.
Well, while they're going down that way, let's go to the statue.
Moving out.
Oh, they're coming back now.
Duty calls. Anything else?
Oh boy, more towers.
I'm on my way.
Of different design. Looks like one of those towers has a Wi-Fi symbol. Oh, that must be their bastion tower that heals their troops. Well, we should barely win this fight. But yeah, as I mentioned before, this is kind of 3 or 4 missions in, so it's going to get a little more tedious and a little bit more micro-y and time-consuming too. An eternal oven. Statue depicts the legend of the eternal oven. Some sort of smelter that never shut down. A decoy army down there.
Of course. Quickly.
Let's go back to the lake and heal. Cool. Alright, we destroyed an enemy camp there. That was nice.
Our troops feel refreshed.
Good, just stay there for a while now. Alright, so with the berries that we're getting, we could try to get the materials here. We just need to deliver those, so let's select a couple of people to deliver.
Let's get to work.
Alright, anything else we can deliver or take advantage of? Oh man, look at that. There's tons of supply. Oh, there's planks sitting right there. That's what I need. Alright, find and explore other statues. I wonder if we need to build an adventure for that. They do have this one up here marked, but it's further north. Although, just like the anvil from before, it might need to be in our territory. That might be the drawback. That we have to further expand.
Our troops feel refreshed.
Well, good, ma'am. I'm happy for our troops. How many logs do we have? 35 plus? Okay. Let's go ahead and dismantle these buildings and see if we can get our materials back. There we go. Build a little further back there. I want to see if we can get any materials back from dismantling buildings. What does that say? It's used to construct buildings and to recruit adventurers. Okay. They must need that for their base camp.
Where can I help?
Alright, let's try to expand a little bit more. Maybe in the north? Well, we're getting too close to that tower now. But there's not much we can do until we find planks.
Our scouts discovered a landmark.
And there's probably going to be a lot of bandits in front of that. Let's go explore. Another tower. Gee. Wow. So at this point, we're going to have to build a lot of units to break through. So they've got us roadblocked pretty good. Don't know why the enemy built a warehouse here. So some of this landscape we can't even go through. I don't think we can go through some of this, but let's try to go up here. We're going to scout with our military. And it appears that a scout has the same visual range as a unit, but can move much faster. And so it's a good way to possibly lure enemy troops into attacking you too, where you go out, run and attack them.
Of course.
And then can lure them into one of your towers. Oh yeah, look at that. Kind of weird, 360 degrees of fire. Just spazzing out.
Duty calls.
Now, if we find a bandit camp up here, it's probably going to have, well, as you'd imagine, bandits blocking it. And so,
Quickly.
we're going to need to fight them in order to get materials.
Moving out.
This objective probably has a tower over here, too.
Duty calls.
Wow, great area to build a base up here. Oh, it looks like there could be maybe stone nearby.
Quickly.
Could be an enemy town up here. So at this point, I may have... it might be wise to restart the mission and be more keen to keep some planks in order to get a sawmill up. It's kind of, as I'm learning, kind of finding the subtle nuances of things that you should and shouldn't do through experience. And I've been enjoying it, by the way. Learning by mistakes, for example, in the new Pharaoh game, or in this game, have been awesome to like keep a reminder to prioritize certain things over others. In this case, it looks like we have ourselves mercenary veterans. If we deliver gold to them, we can hire one of 3 people. Looks like a Viking raider. I'm not sure what the other 2 might do.
I need some rest.
Another random,
Duty calls.
Our scouts discovered a landmark.
another warehouse sitting around. Discuss the findings with the headquarters. Okay.
Of course.
Well, that's weird. We've only found 3 of them, though. Lucky Fisherman. The, unless this is one. Oh, maybe the tunnel comes out down here. Oh. There's a path that leads up to the top. All right, let's go to the headquarters.
You have been warned, yet you steal what rightfully belongs to my people.
Who are you?
Look who's talking.
You should be more careful with what you say, or I will cut that little tongue right from your mouth.
You can try, but
Let's all be civil here. Can't we settle this peacefully?
Not if your people keep setting foot on my land. This is the last warning. Leave now or pay the price.
You better hurry up. I don't think she will stand down, and I'd really like to leave here before she comes back with reinforcements.
Yeah, so I don't even know who this lady is. So based on the story, you know, we arrived on this island, but
Enemy in
whoever this
sight.
lady is just kind of
Our
came
army is under attack.
to meet with us, and it's like, all right, cool, I guess. Oh, we're not going to be able to do this. Defend the Eternal Oven statue and the fisherman. Oh boy, we're going to need massive amounts of troops. We're going to need a whole army here. Now, this is one of those things where it's a little more of a good idea to be able to build up an army beforehand and do a little playthrough beforehand. All right, but yeah, so we found 3. The Eternal Oven and the Lucky Fisherman, and then, of course, the first one, the Blacksmith. But that's all cool. So at this moment, we're stun locked because of the planks. I'll have to be more mindful of making sure that I build a sawmill in the future that way. And so there's no way, even deleting buildings or whatnot, for me to get planks at the moment that I can think of. But still, that's something that you're going to have to keep into account and in the back of your mind as you expand and build. Seems like there's no cost to expansion either. I didn't see it costing any material. It just takes time to do that. But the enemy can easily recap territory by building a tower and then like re-expanding and then using towers to basically mark the borders of their expanse. And that's pretty smart tactic, I'd imagine. So, what other mysteries lie in store? I don't know. I'm going to have to live stream this mission as well, and we'll probably do that sometime soon on the channel. So I'm going to be doing a full campaign playthrough via the live streams, because of course this is a beefy game where each mission takes a few hours, and I appreciate that it's not just a quick like 20-25 minute mission. But this is a great city builder / RTS, and I'm hoping to see a lot more of this game in the future and possibly get interested in the skirmishes. So I'll have to see how long the campaign is and feel its replayability, which so far the story, just like Age of Empires 3, hasn't really grasped me. I don't know who a lot of these people are, including the 2 main characters, the guy with the beard and the lady with the map at the start. I'm not sure who they are, what our nation is. All I can remember is the Alari, but I don't know if that's part of the previous games or not. But regardless, a beautiful looking game, lots and lots of detail, boxes and crates and things everywhere, and lots for me to learn. There's control groups and a lot of features that I haven't been able to use yet, and I'm still learning, and I'm having a blast, so I like it quite a bit. Now, unfortunately, for the people who will be asking down below in the comments section, this is not on Steam. It is a Epic Game Store and a Ubisoft Store exclusive for the next year. So somewhere around early spring of 2024, we may see this on Steam. And I'm not sure why Ubisoft chose to do this, as they did this with Anno 1800 and made that an exclusive game for almost 3-4 years, and then finally released it onto Steam. So I thought this would be on Steam as well, considering that Ubisoft's kind of having some tough times right now, and you'd think that they would try to release everything everywhere then, so that way people could enjoy them where they prefer. But if you'd like to get this one, there is a Epic Game Store link down below in the comments section if you'd like to support the channel through support a creator, or get it through the Ubisoft Store. I think you still need to go through the launcher regardless, but it does have cross-play, as they say, so you can play and enable that where Epic can play with Ubisoft, and so hopefully that'll also come to Steam as well. Alright guys, well let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section about this game. Let me know if this is something that really interests you, if you're happy with what they're doing with the franchise, if you played the previous ones. Which ones were the best Settlers? Which ones should I go back and play if I want to experience this game more? A lot of you were saying that you enjoyed 3 and 2, and that the last one was not as good as possibly this one could be. I think that one was called like The Village or something like that. I don't know. I think I bought it and wanted to play it. But you let me know down below. Thank you very much for all your likes. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thanks for becoming members. And I hope to see you all very soon for more of this beautiful looking and very cool game. I like it so far. But we'll be playing it a lot more. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.